Welcome, my name is Adela, and I'm the founder of Procrastination.com. In this first lecture, we're going to take a look at what is procrastination and why it makes sense to fight it. The word procrastination originates from Latin, and it has been used in classical literature for centuries. Procrastinus means belonging to tomorrow, and the word procrastination refers to pathologically putting things off. Why is procrastination a problem? Nowadays, our lives are faster and more complicated than they used to be in any time in history. We are exposed to easy distractions that lure our attention away from what is important. Students are one of the groups that procrastinate the most. Their room seems to be the cleanest during the exam period, or they end up watching 10 episodes of their favorite TV show just on the day before exams. It actually seems that people also procrastinate more at work and even in personal life. One of our clients described it very well. She said she arrives to work in the morning and finds that she has so many tasks to do that she doesn't know which one to start with. So instead, she picks up a watering can and starts watering the plants in the office, and keeps on doing this pretty much until noon. The problem is that she manages a company of 150 employees. It also seems that we have begun to procrastinate more in our private lives. Many people put off resting. Workaholics are the procrastinators of relaxation. We often postpone going to bed on time or leaving for holidays. Nowadays, one of the most common types of procrastination is hitting the snoozing button as well in the morning. Sounds familiar? And why is it a problem? A study has proven that the more often a person hits the snooze button, the worse he or she feels. The brain starts getting ready to sleep again, but is pulled out of it only after a few minutes. This works in about the same way as you were to take a rubber hammer and keep hitting yourself on the head with it. Procrastination works in a similar way. The more you procrastinate, the more negative feelings you have, such as those of remorse or failure. In consequence, there is a higher probability that you will procrastinate even more. This works similarly when it comes to alcoholics. They go and get drunk, and then the next day they feel the regret, so they go and get drunk even more. Procrastination is actually a feedback loop. It reinforces itself. If we were to express it graphically, here are the things which we should do, your tasks and responsibilities. Here are the things that you actually want to do. And here are the things that you do when you procrastinate. Procrastination is therefore what we do instead of doing something meaningful, something we should do or want to do. What we actually do is something quite irrelevant. This is where the problem begins. Not only does our productivity decrease, but procrastination is also often connected with negative feelings. On the other hand, we are much happier when we live our day-to-day lives meaningfully and to the fullest. When we decrease our procrastination, we increase our long-term happiness. Our brain reward centers are activated more often, the neurotransmitter dopamine is released, and we feel more satisfied. The recipe for a long-term happiness is therefore not about buying a big car or a new flat. Material things that we gain are the things that we get used to extremely quickly. Instead, the recipe is to beat procrastination and live every day effectively and meaningfully. To take a look at another definition of procrastination, imagine that we have tasks to do and have allocated time to completing these tasks. So how does a typical procrastinator tackle this relatively easy problem? Well, like this. Procrastination is often a matter of leaving things to the last minute. People frequently make the excuse that they work better under pressure and that the time crunch actually raises the quality of their work. One study proved exactly the opposite. If someone does their work at the last minute, then all of the associated negative emotions and stress actually significantly decreases the quality of their outputs. So, in theory, therefore, really essential for us is to properly manage our time, prioritize, and for example, divide larger tasks into smaller ones. By the way, would you be able to guess what type of person procrastinates the most? The largest procrastinators are very intelligent and very creative people. Why? Because an intelligent and creative person can come up with a very well thought out excuse, and often even in front of himself. So if you are a big procrastinator, then I have a good news for you. Maybe it just means that you are a very intelligent and also very creative person. We often compare procrastinators, don't get offended, to dung beetles. The way the dung beetle rolls up this pile of dung is comparable to the accumulation of tasks and problems of a procrastinator. If the amount of things that he is setting aside is small, then it is still relatively okay. However, the bigger the pile gets, the worse the situation becomes. Some people can accumulate so much unfinished stuff that they reach stage number 3. The amount of postponement of things balls up to the point where it crushes them. Let's look at an example of a project manager I consulted, someone who was in charge of about 1,500 people. He would arrive at work and look at his 5-page long to-do list. Seeing so many tasks drains his energy, and he would end up procrastinating all day, incapable of doing any work at all. In the worst case, procrastination can lead to complete burnout or to the state that is called abulia, the utter lack of will. But we managed to help him, and we know how to help you too. Here comes the good news. Studies has repeatedly shown that procrastination is not inborn. It is something that can be taught and also untaught, a bad habit that can be changed. All of us are able to significantly decrease and limit our procrastination. Research confirms that our willpower works in a similar way as our muscles. If someone's muscles are weak, then he or she can start going to the gym and build them up. In the same way, everyone can train his willpower, and even the most advanced procrastinators can become productive again. So, if you procrastinate a lot, don't despair. In this course, you will find out how to deal with it. Right now, let's have a look at what we call the loop of procrastination. If a person doesn't do anything, he feels regret, and then he starts to feel guilty. This then leads to the doubting of oneself and to the decrease in self-confidence, which then leads to the feeling of helplessness. And as we know, the feeling of helplessness once again leads to not doing anything at all. The loop pretty much repeats itself. This is why procrastination is like a bewitched circle which is necessary to break. As we say, learning to fight procrastination is one of the most useful skills for the modern man. If we limit our postponements, then not only we will have more time to work, but studies also show that increased willpower can improve our relationship, strengthen our health, and one study even shows that we live longer. We do sports more often, we are able to eat healthier, we don't put off regular tests and rests, going to the doctors, and we're just healthier. If we procrastinate less, the general quality of our life increases. So, if I had to pick one of the most important skills you should learn in life, it would be the ability to fight procrastination. You probably didn't learn this at school, so we will teach you this in our course. Now, it's also important to explain that procrastination isn't because we just don't want to put a sticker on procrastination and everything, chilling. There is a large difference between procrastination and having a rest. If we are at rest, then our energy is being recharged. But if we are procrastinating, then our energy is depleted. So if you work all day and then watch a movie in the evening, then your energy is being renewed. However, if you watch movies all day instead of work, then you will be more tired in the evening than someone who had worked all day. This is because procrastination exhausts us more than the actual work. And finally, what is really important, procrastination is not laziness. A lazy individual doesn't want to do anything and is absolutely fine with that. A procrastinator, on the other hand, wants to do something but is unable to start and he feels bad. The inability to start the most important thing to overcome. My colleague's dad used to tell him, "Peter, you need to learn how to give yourself orders." But he used to reply, "I know how to tell myself what to do, but I just don't listen to myself." The most extensive meta-analysis of studies on procrastination ever conducted indicates that failure to listen to ourselves is most likely the main reason we put things off. This ability is called self-regulation and can be learned by training. So let's do this. In our course, we will teach you how. We will explain what are the main cases of procrastination and main causes, and give you practical tools that will help you to fight them. So sign up, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next lecture.